Someone asks for a favor that costs you a whole evening. You feel the no forming in your chest. Then you hear yourself say, "Sure, no problem," and you spend the next hour explaining why you almost couldn't, as if the yes needed defending. You tell yourself you're being kind. You're not. You want to be liked more than you want to be respected, and those are not the same want. There is a pattern in how you fold, and the people around you learn it long before you notice you have one. Watch what you actually do. You say yes, and then over-explain it. You let the interruption stand and swallow the point you were making. You get talked over in a meeting and you laugh it off. Someone repays you late, and you say it's fine, really, don't worry about it. Each one feels small. Each one is a small correction you chose not to make, and the person on the other side files it away, not as cruelty, just as information about what you'll accept. That's the mechanism nobody names. A boundary is not a speech. It's the small cost you attach to crossing you. When you have one, the other person feels a slight resistance and adjusts. When you don't, they feel nothing, so they keep going. You think you're avoiding conflict. What you're actually doing is teaching people the price of your time, your attention, your agreement is zero. And people spend freely where the price is zero. Here is what it costs you. The disrespect that follows is never loud. Nobody announces they've stopped taking you seriously. They just start deciding without asking. They cancel on you last, book over you first, interrupt you a half-second sooner. You feel the shift and can't point to the moment it happened because there was no moment. There was 100 small yeses, and somewhere in them you became the person the room adjusts around instead of the person the room adjusts to. And you think the answer is to hold firmer, to finally say no and mean it. Sometimes it is. But the deeper problem isn't that your no is too soft. It's that you announce the no is coming. You warn them. You apologize before you refuse. You explain your reasons. You check their face to see if it landed. The moment you do that, the boundary stops being a fact and becomes a request. You're not drawing a line. You're asking permission to draw one. That's the second thing at work, and it's separate from folding. A person who explains himself hands over the one thing that made him hard to read. When you justify every limit, you tell people exactly which reasons move you and which don't. You show them the levers. Now they don't have to respect the line. They just have to argue with the reason behind it. The colleague who negotiates your deadline doesn't fight your no. He fights the explanation you volunteered because you handed him the whole map of what you'll bend for. Watch two people refuse the same request. One says a long, warm, guilty paragraph about why he can't this time, but maybe next week, and he's so sorry. The other says, "I can't do that." The first invites a follow-up because he left every door unlocked. The second closes the conversation because there's nothing to push against. The room doesn't respect the words. It respects the absence of a handle. Power sits with the person who cannot be argued out of himself. Now the cost stops being about meetings. It reaches the part you're most afraid to look at, because after enough years of this, you stop knowing where you actually stand. You've given away so many small positions to keep the peace that you can no longer find the ones you'd defend. You call it being easygoing. Underneath, you're not sure you have a self that would object to anything, and that scares you more than any single person's disrespect. The people who overrun you are only reading a signal you've been sending honestly. You really don't hold. And the worst part is what it does to the ones you'd never want to lose. Your patience with everyone teaches your closest people they can take the most. They love you and they still book over you because you trained them to, not out of malice, out of your own quiet, endless permission. Go back to that first yes, the favor that cost you an evening. You thought the danger was the evening. It wasn't. The danger was the explaining, the small proof that your no was negotiable. Every soft boundary is a message written in a language other people read fluently, and the message is simply how far in they're allowed to come. Quiet disrespect isn't something they do to you, it's the accurate reply to what you keep telling them.